If you're a coach and you are struggling to attract clients, I can guarantee it's not because you're a bad coach. It's because you're making one positioning mistake that's invisible to you. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you how to see what that invisible thing is, 3 steps to expose yourself to that invisible thing that is stopping you in the positioning space so that you can not only attract clients, you can attract a whole handful of clients every single month and be able to turn some away. So let's talk through this invisible positioning that is costing you the attraction space. How do I know this? Because I've done this and I did this for years. You see, when I used to own my Keller Williams Realty franchises, I felt I had to do this. When I was a team leader of those offices, I felt I had to do what I'm going to share with you, which is the invisible thing. And what I realized was it's not true. As I've stepped now into building the I Love Coaching community, as I've stepped now into helping others overcome this, it is so plain as day when you can finally realize what it is about and what most coaches do in this space. It's very simple. And I'm going to give you the framework from a book called A Hero on a Mission. Hero on a Mission is by Donald Miller. And inside of that book, Donald talks about 4 main characters in a movie at all times. And you see, back when I was running my tennis businesses, back when I was running my real estate franchises, I thought I had to be one specific character in or out of those 4. And here are the 4. The very first one is what's called a victim. Now let's define what a victim is. A victim is someone who is not willing to transform. Secondly, we have a villain. What does a villain do? A villain always holds down the victims so that they can't transform, right? Now, I know what you're getting ready to say for this third one, and I thought the exact same thing. There's a hero. Nope, not yet. There is a victim who is willing to transform. Different from a victim who is not willing to transform, this person is a victim, that's where they have to start, who is willing to transform to become a hero. And then the 4th character is that of a guide. Okay, so that's how we're going to frame out this whole conversation is which one are you being and what language are you using? So I don't want you to miss that. 4 characters, a victim, not willing to transform, a villain, always holds the victims down, a victim who is willing to transform, and then a guide. So let's talk about the 3 shifts that you need to make right now. The first one is you have to identify which character are you being? Victim, villain, victim number 2, ready to transform into a hero, or a guide. Where I made the mistake was I thought I had to be the hero. I thought I had to be their hero to grow people, to share my knowledge, to attract people based on me. Well, what we know is people don't buy you, right? We know that people buy your payoff. When you're in the coaching space, you have what's called a problem and a solution cycle. That problem to solution cycle, that cycle at the end, which is a whole nother conversation, we're not going to go into it. That's called your payoff. People buy your payoff, not you. People buy your payoff, not your process, and people buy your payoff, not the parts or the path of your process. They buy the payoff. Now, let's talk about that payoff. Because what should you be? You should be the guide. Your clients are the heroes. And what's really neat about this, when you can see this positioning here, when you can step into the space of being the guide, you start to win more. You start to attract more. Because there's 2 things I want you to realize when you are being the guide that you must always have. But here's the thing. If you don't know these 2 things, you're going to stay in hero language. Why? Because you want to be the hero. You want to be the one that people look to say, wow, they helped me. Wow, they knew what they were doing. Wow, 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 whatever it is, right? But at the end of the day, if you ever look at a movie, have you ever seen a movie where there's 2 heroes? Probably not, right? So the language that I want you to understand here is that of a guide language has to have 2 things, competence and empathy. The empathy space, I want to give you a visual here. So let's say you're walking through the woods, and as you're walking through the woods as the guide, you come upon this huge hole, and you look down that hole, and let's say it's 20 feet deep. And you look down in this hole and you see 3 individuals. Inside of that hole with those 3 individuals are the victim who is not willing to transform, the villain who's holding the victim down, and then the victim who is willing to transform and wants to get out of the hole. Now you are the guide and you come up to this hole, and let's talk about empathy. You come up to this hole and you look down in this hole and you say, that looks like a deep hole. That looks cold. That looks scary. And as you're looking down at this hole and you're saying those things out loud, you say, I know it's cold down there. I know it's scary down there. Why? Because I've been down there before. Empathy language from a guide. Now, if we are standing at the top of that hole as a hero, what would a hero say to those people down there? Come on, you can do it. You can get out of there. Come on, just climb your way out of there, right? That's not competence. That's hero language. What is guide language? Well, we know we gave the empathy example. Now we have to give the competence example. So as the guide stands on top of that hole, looks down and sees those three characters, the guide says, I know what it feels like to be down there. I've been down there before. Now the guide says, and I know how to get out. So what the guide does is says, hey, I'm going to give you instructions on how to get out of that cold, dark, miserable place. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw down a rope with 5 knots on it. With that rope and those 5 knots, I want you to take your left hand first and grab the first knot. Your right hand, I want you to put it on top of that knot. Then I want you to use your biceps and put your legs on the wall and pull yourself up. Go to the second knot. Right hand on top of the left hand, pull yourself up, kick your feet up there. Keep going all the way till you get to the top. And when you get to the top, I want you to put your left hand on the ground, the right hand on the ground, and push yourself up and get yourself out of the hole. So what did I just do there? I just said, as the guide, I can empathize with you and I know how to get you out. Competence. Now let's take all of that language and let me go back to my days of being a team leader. Let me go back to my days of standing at the front of the room of an office. And let me go back to my days when I was the operating principal of these offices. I used hero language all the time. Sure, I would give step-by-step process on how to do something, but at the end of the day, I gave hero language. You are made for this. You can do it. Yes, I believe in you. That language isn't wrong. But here's what I want you to understand. There has never been a movie where there are 2 successful heroes. Though at the end of the day, if you watch Avengers or you watch any of those Marvel comic movies where the superheroes are clashing, it's because the movie can only have one hero. And as I was standing at the front of the room, I was making myself the hero, not those people in front of me. So here's what we have to do. You have to change, number one, shift number one is you have to change your language. Now, this is the path I want to give you. The 3 shifts to make right now is number one, you've got to change your language. Stop saying the things that are hero-based language and start using empathy and competence-based language. Shift number 2 is you've got to change your positioning. The positioning of the guide, as we said, has the 2 things, which are empathy and competence. That is your positioning that I said at the top of this YouTube video, is you are mispositioning yourself and you don't know it, or maybe you haven't seen it and it's hidden right in front of you. So you've got to change that positioning if you want to step in and go have success. The third thing is now you get to go change your content. Every piece of content that you are doing, and I don't want to misconstrue what content is, but let's just be realistic here. If that's content in a newsletter, if that's content on your social media stuff, if that's content on a YouTube channel, if that's wherever that content lives, you've got to understand who your ideal client is and that they are the center of the story. So the psychographic part of identifying your avatar, right? So we know there's 3 categories inside of the avatar. Is demographic, geographic, and then psychographic. The psychographic part of your avatar is how do they think or what are they thinking? And if we can position them with language based on being the hero, we now know how the hero language thinks. But pause for a second, because are they really a hero yet? Nope. Your avatar, your client is a victim right now who is willing to transform. And they're willing to transform when they read your content and it aligns with their problem that they have, that you become the resource or the guide for them to get out of the hole that they're currently in. They will come to you. You will attract them at a much more authentic way than a sales way. right? And here's how I know this to be true. Because as I stepped out of that hero language and into my role here of leading the I Love Coaching community, at the end of the day, I've learned how to step into guide language, guide positioning. And I get to be the guide now for all the coaches who are in our community and teach them through our blueprint competence on how to build a coaching business. Right now, you may be feeling, well, I'm not in the coaching space yet, but I feel like I want to step into the coaching space, or we call it an amateur coach. Maybe you're an amateur coach right now, which means you're not getting paid for it yet. What I want you to do is I want you to go to ilovecoachingco.com right now and click the Start Here button. And what that's going to do is you're going to download my resource on a language called Get Paid to Coach. Very simple. And it's all guide-based language for you to be the hero to step into how to get paid to coach. So the proof now is we have expanded the coaching community as a guide who is competent and can have empathy for where these individuals are to serve them at a higher level and to help them. So here's what I want you to do. Here's the invite. The invite is to go download that guide, right? Go down the Get Paid to Coach guide right now and fill it out. So go check that out on our website. And at the end of the day, what I want you to do is I want you to step into this space you are feeling called to build. Because there's a reason why you're feeling called to go serve other people. It's because you are the guide. You're not the hero. And at the end of the day, when you are positioning yourself to be the guide, you will attract more at a much higher level. Okay, guys. So if you like this, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will see you next time. See you, bye.